Hello guys, Mr. Fluffy Pants here. So guys, another video, and today guys, I'm reviewing Outer Banks Season 2, which, the first season I did a review of, link in the description. It was one of my all-time favorite Netflix shows, and I can definitely say with Outer Banks Season 2, it is definitely one of my favorite Netflix shows yet again, and honestly, I would say Season 2 is better than the first season, and, I've heard, some people complain that, Outer Banks is just cheesy, not well-written or whatnot, but, I don't care. This is just such a captivating show. Each episode leaves off on a cliffhanger, and the story just gets more and more complex, and I just honestly love the show so much, especially after the second season. I cannot wait for them to do a season 3, 4, or, however many seasons it's going to be, just because this show is just such a good show, and, so captivating, and so binge-worthy, too. I'm from North Carolina, and, just everybody, around me, other than, one person I know, just absolutely loves the show. I'm talking about, all age groups, younger than me, my age, older than me, a lot older than me. They just all love the show just because of how captivating it is. You wouldn't really think that because, it's mostly about, a love story that's also has some treasure, Goonies vibes in it, but, just everybody just loves the show. It's such a captivating. It's honestly like a lightning in a bottle, or at least from my experience with people loving the show or whatnot. But season 2's premise does contain spoilers for the first season, so I would just go suggest at least starting the first episode. You'll get hooked immediately. But basically, season 2 deals with the fallout of the first season. John B and Sarah are in the Bahamas. They're gonna try to get the gold back or whatnot. They're still on the run because John B, kind of got framed for the murder of Peterkin, and, JJ Key and, Pope are kind of having to live with, a life without, they think their friend John B and Sarah are dead, and, they're having to kind of, people keep telling them to move on, but they don't really want to move on or whatnot, and that's basically the premise for season, 2, without getting into spoilers. But, honestly, season 2 goes way beyond what I thought it would entail. What you think is going to happen in season 2, what you think would happen in season 2 happens in about the first 3 episodes, and then it does, I don't want to say a 180, but it definitely takes a turn for something different, and I honestly really did enjoy it. There's a bunch of twists in this season, even more so than the first season, and I gotta give props to some of the twists I absolutely did not see coming. The season lives off on a big cliffhanger twist or whatnot, which we'll get into the spoiler part, but like I said, season 2 is just, I would say, even more binge worthy. In the last few episodes though, it kind of gets a little, it feels like it drags on a little bit, which could just been me watching episode after episode after episode. But this show is just so good at living off cliffhangers that keeps you wanting more and more, and just the way the story winds and all that, it's just, and the character interactions and all that is just absolutely fantastic. I would give Outer Banks Season 2 a 9.8 out of 10. But now I am going to go into spoilers, so if you haven't seen the show, go watch the Season 2 or the first Season 2. But we're going to get to spoilers, which, there's definitely some big ones in here. So, like I was referring to in the non-spoiler section, the whole thing about, I would thought, what happens in the first 3 episodes would take place over the entire season. John B and Sarah in the Bahamas trying to get the gold back. I thought that would take place over the whole season, but no, that takes place in the first 3 episodes. We got the cargo ship captain, Terrence, which, we saw at the end of season 1, pick them up in the water or whatnot. He sees that there's a bounty for them, tries to turn them in. There's a whole beef between them, and, we meet this new character, Cleo, which we become quite acquainted with, especially at the end of the season, but they basically, chase them down. They're they're still on the run or whatnot, but, it is interesting, seeing them, on the run in the Bahamas. I thought that was definitely a different change of pace or whatnot, but, and then John B makes this promise to Sarah, and they kind of technically get married, quote unquote, but, he makes this promise, she's promise me you won't go after the gold and be stupid, blah, blah. And he's yeah, I promise. But then, immediately after that, he tries to get the gold from Sarah's, parents' home or whatnot, which, is really stupid of him. And, she gets mad at him because, she gets, kidnapped or whatnot, from the people on the ship or what, because, they want their bounty. They're hey, we'll give you this big block of gold, which, they got from the first season, it was 3 bars or whatnot, but it's $150,000, and, their bounty reward's only $50,000, and they're hey, take this, and he's nah, we're gonna take this and get the bounty, blah, 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 and then they're hey, no, what if we told you can get more? And then they, break into their parents' house, and we see all the golden safe, and like, oh, it is so much, like, it's hard to believe or whatnot, but, basically they get busted by the security or whatnot, and also, I gotta just say, absolutely, like, the villainy, like, in the show, like, it's, like, so complex, like, with Ward, being Sarah's father, he's just such a good villain, but, like, you also kind of love the guy at the same time, but, like, he's, like, unhinged, but you can kind of understand, like, he's doing it for his family, and, like, I just think that's such an interesting, complex character where he's, like, greedy, but he's also doing stuff for his family. Like, he's just the actor is just such good at playing that. And then the character, Rafe, which, is the guy that actually shot Peterkin or whatnot, the actor plays so well of him being, like, unhinged and just, not okay. And you can definitely, see the relationship between Ward and Rafe so much. Like, he loves his son and his daughter. And he's like, I'm not going to pick, even though, he kind of does pick, especially by the end of the season or whatnot, but, like, he's just such a good job, trying to hide it, he kills Gavin or whatnot, because, also, I love the scene whenever Pope, Key, and JJ realize, John B's still alive when they get that text message at school. That's just such a great scene, and, their whole, camaraderie or whatnot, their whole friendship kind of changes, because, Pope and Key are kind of, like, on will they, won't they relationship, and then she kind of, just sleeps with Pope just despite her parents, I guess, is what it kind of seemed like, which, is kind of sad, but... and honestly, I just love JJ's arc. His arc in the first season about his abusive dad or whatnot. It kind of comes full circle in the second season because, his dad, near the end's like, hey, help me, get out of go inland or whatnot. And, Key, while JJ's in the store, when I was, talks to, his piece of shit dad and is like, you don't realize that, your son's something special. Like, he has, like, the biggest heart. And then when we see that, when he's on the boat, he's like, you got money for gas? And he gives his dad gas. And, like, there's kind of this sweet moment between them. But, JJ's still kind of like, you're still a piece of shit or whatnot. But, like, then I think his father really realizes that, yeah, my son is something special. And that's just, like, such a... like, kind of small, big moment. Like, it's honestly just so great. And there's, like, a bunch of just great character interactions in this show, like, especially with Pope's dad. Like, I absolutely just love that character interaction where, he gets mad at his son or whatnot, but then he's like, well, I mean, I shouldn't be encouraging you, but, like, I know this means a lot to you, and when, they're talking about the key or whatnot, but, and then, just, Key's relationship with her parents is just really sad, with her mom. I just feel like they're always at each other's throats, and I just really feel bad for both of them because, like, she accuses her mom of being, always thinking about herself, and then her mom's like, yeah, I definitely just thought about myself, and I was out last morning seeing your body washed ashore and whatnot, which, that's, gotta be really painful for both of them, and then she gets kicked out of the house or whatnot, but, so basically, long story short, this girl, and, there's just so much packed in this season, like, I cannot believe they packed this much into 10 episodes, but they just did it so flawlessly, but basically, there's this girl in Charleston, which is the great-granddaughter or something of the ship captain of the Royal Merchant. Basically, she's like, hey, I got something that, could, free John B. or whatnot from, get the charges dropped or whatnot if you, come and meet me, Pope. And it turns out Pope's whole family is related to the Tanny guy from, the escaped slave from the Royal Merchant that, got the treasure or whatnot, is related to him. And, like, there's this key in his family that he didn't know anything about until after, he met with this lady and she tried to kidnap him or whatnot. But basically, long story short, is Denmark Tanning left this key and something about the island room is on it. And long story short, there's this cross of Santa Domingo, I think it is. But basically, it's this gold-plated cross that has the veil of Jesus or whatnot in it, in which the lady, the Limbri lady, which, is the granddaughter of the ship captain, wants it so she can get healed or whatnot, and, they're basically, that's kind of the MacGuffin of the season, because they kind of, honestly forget about the gold after the failed, heist, after Terrence and, Cleo and John B. and all them team up to get the gold, which they successfully do, but then they lose it again, and then, Ward's like, yeah, I'm gonna put it in a Swiss bank or whatnot, which, and then apparently Terrence and, his bodyguard get shot, which, that happens off screen, so they'll probably come back in season 3, honestly, but, Cleo does come back because, she escapes, and, her and Sarah become friends or whatnot, which is interesting, especially when she comes back into the show at the end of the season, episode 10, but, I forgot what I was talking about, but I guess I guess Demartani. But basically, there's this cross of Santo Domingo, which, like I said, is the MacGuffin of the later half of the season, which honestly does kind of just feel thrown in there, especially whenever they find it kind of quickly in the church. It was like up in the rafters, which I thought was very cool. But then I just feel like every time they got something right in their grasp, Pope gets stung by bees or whatnot, and then they have to run off, and then the people just come in and still Rafe and the other guy just Renfield just come in and steal the cross or whatnot. But I also skipped a whole major section, when John B comes back to Charleston, and then they ride back to the Outer Banks to John B's house, hang out for a while, and they were just having a good old night or whatnot. But then the next day or whatnot, while they're John B finally gets arrested or whatnot, and there's just this really, really like just awesome scene of, JJ's like, we're gonna shoot our way out here with the gun, and John B's just like, there's no use of it, and then like just kicks the gun and like covers up with dust. And the sheriff, or the one cop that was really good friends with Peterkin or whatnot, whenever Shoop, which is the now sheriff, gets out of the car, and they're arresting John B, this one guy that I guess I'm pretty sure he was close friends with Peterkin, the first thing, he just starts beating the shit out of John B, or just because he's like, this is for Peterkin and blah blah blah. And John B just kind of takes it because he knows there's nothing he can do. And then he also tells Shoop, he's like, I'm ready to to talk. And Shoop was like, about time or whatnot. But and I also just love how John B's friends like JJ and all that just stand up for him so much, whenever people just start talking about him or whatnot. But basically, he goes in jail. Ward's like, hey, yeah, so I killed Gavin, because, he killed him earlier. And basically, Pope, JJ, and Key find the gun that Rafe used, which the Gavin, which was the pilot on the tarmac that had all the gold in it, saw, the murder happen, and he kept the gun because Ward was like, hey, toss it out the window over the ocean or whatnot. And basically, he's like, nah, I'm going to use it to blackmail you for money. And then basically, long story short, gun ends down drain, and then the drain, they go in the drain to go get it or whatnot. And also love that Barry and Barry the drug dealer is back working with Rafe, kind of question mark. But yeah, and also, like I said, Ward and Rafe are just such like great, like I don't even want to say like villains, like they're not, well, Rafe definitely is a villain, but Ward's just kind of like I don't even know what you really call him, but like he's just like such a great nemesis, I guess is the right word. But and also Key just acts really stupid to this entire season, like just given what they were just like yelling out murderer or whatnot. And also one thing that kind of sets up, it makes you kind of feel like it's setting up, whenever they spray paint Ward's house and it says murderer, he tells Shoop, he's like, yeah, and you better drop or wrap up this case quick if you want your sheriff's badge to not say interim in front of the sheriff, because he's made sheriff because Peterkin got killed and not voted in or whatnot. He's like, I can make it say sheriff without the interim part if you hurry up and wrap up this case. Which throughout the entire season you're really thinking that Shoop is just on Ward's side and is in his pockets or whatnot. But we really learned that turns out like they were really building a case, because whenever the kids give the gun that Rafe supposedly used and it matches the serial number, he's like, well, shit. And then we start to see the plan come together. He meets up with the FBI agent at the end of the first season, is like, yep, match the fingerprints, the gun case and everything. And they're like, well, this is about to be over with then. And I really love that Barry turned the tables on Rafe. Like he drives him out in the middle of a swamp for him to get arrested or whatnot, which I thought was just absolutely hilarious. That Barry ended up being the good guy in the end. But basically, he gets arrested, and then we get this whole, dramatic thing of, there's like the Camerons are on lockdown or whatnot, and then the episode, I think it's like the 8th episode, called My Druthers or something like that, but that's basically the name of the Cameron's boat or whatnot. And whenever they come in to arrest Ward for I guess being involved with the murder of Peterkin and all that kind of stuff, he gets on the ship or whatnot, and Sarah and John B and all them run up, and Sarah, and also there's like this whole kind of you're kind of made to believe that like Sarah and Topper are gonna get back into it, which I didn't really, that whole storyline. Like Topper seems like he's a good guy or whatnot, he just wants Sarah back, but I don't know, I just still don't like him. And John B and Sarah have their whole relationship thing, but because basically Topper saved Rafe from drowning her, which Rafe is absolutely psychotic or whatnot. But and especially after this, my Druth's episode, because, Ward goes in the ship, and it appears that he killed himself, and I was like, okay, well, that's kind of a dramatic end, like, the ship literally blows up, and they're like, oh, well, and, he also admitted to the murder of Peterkin, so then they let Rafe go, which, I'm not sure if that's how the legal system works or whatnot, but, whatever, but, and then, Sarah's just absolutely destroyed, like, she didn't really like her dad, but her dad literally just died in front of her eyes or whatnot, and, of course, Topper just, just runs into, like, hold her tight, and John B's just, we hear Sarah say later, like, it almost seemed like you were relieved that he died or whatnot, and John B was like, I mean, he was kind of, emotionally detached from that moment, like, hey, yeah, she just watched her dad die in front of her. He's just like, yeah, finally that guy's gone. But the one thing I was not expecting, because basically, long story short, after Rafe steals the cross or whatnot, they load it on this cargo ship. Cargo ship's going, I think it also has, like, it's going with the gold or whatnot. Basically, they're running away to some their own, like, little private island. The whole Cameron family, and Sarah wakes up, and her dad is still alive, and, obviously she's mad or whatnot, and, John B, John B, Key, JJ, and Pope sneak on the ship in a container or whatnot, and basically, the whole last episode is, like, them trying to steal the cross back. They lock up the crew or whatnot, and, it turns out Cleo's working on the boat, which, she does help them, which I'm very glad, she's kind of part of the Pogues now or whatnot, but long story short, they try stealing the cross, they break out of the cell or whatnot, Sarah locks her dad down there, because, he's just, like, abusive at this point, and straight up crazy, like Rafe, long story short, they try dropping the cross in the ocean, because Pope's like, if I can't have it, nobody can have it. They pull it back on board or whatnot. Basically, John B beats the shit out of Ward, busts his head on the back of the boat, kind of like, Ward did, Big John Rutledge, which, he also admitted to the murder of that on the, when the police supposedly thought, he died or whatnot, which we see he just used some scuba gear on the boat, to get out or whatnot, but, we see that John B's literally about to throw him overboard and kill him, and then he kind of restrains because, Sarah's right there, and he's like, you know what, you're not worth it, pal, or whatnot, and, basically, they all get away on a little, getaway dinghy, the Cameron's got the, Ward and Rafe got the Cross of Santo Domingo back on board, which, is basically priceless or whatnot. And basically the Pogues end up stranded on a, defeated yet again, stranded on this beautiful island, which I must say. And, they're just starting to have a good old time. They're just kind of, sitting around, blah, 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 chatting or whatnot. And then we see their, flashback to their, to the Outer Banks, where they're from or whatnot, Kildare County. And, there's, like, their parents putting up missing posters in them that they probably think they're dead at this point. And they're like, yeah, these missing teens, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that's just, really a sad reality because, they're out there just having the time of their lives and they didn't really think about the people back home or whatnot, which, is definitely, whatever. But, and then the absolutely, like, I was really surprised whenever Ward turned out to be alive. Like, that's the one I was really surprised about. The one I wasn't really surprised about was at the end of season 1. We see Limbery go to, I think it's somewhere in Jamaica. It might be the Bahamas or something. But she goes up to this one guy. It turns out to be John B's father. And he's like, hey, I know where the veil of Jesus or whatnot is, that can heal you, but you got to help my son. And I'm guessing she's talking about, or he's talking about, like, getting the cross back, with, for John B, or the gold too. And then it ends off and I'm like, I mean, I kind of saw it coming, honestly. Like, not really. I saw it coming, like, hey, he's going to be back. But I was like, his whole father, dying situation has got to come back in a big way, which I'm really interested to see how they explain that, considering we literally saw his death scene in the first season as, like, a flashback, or whatnot. But, like, honestly, like, this show's just such a great winding thing. It kind of feels formulaic, like, hey, they find this treasure, and then they lose the treasure, and then they, at the rock bottom or whatnot. But honestly though, this season's just such whining and all that. Like, I just love it so much. The emotion, the different character dynamics and all that. Like, this show is just so great. And I just love it so much. Like, I don't care what anybody says. Like, I absolutely love this show. And, like, I would give it, like, definitely a 9.8 out of 10. But, anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think about the show down below. Because, like I said, I absolutely love it. But, check out my Twitter and Discord, link in the description. Like and subscribe for more. Check out some other videos, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.